football here at Trinity, they used to do spring ball. So high school, they did spring ball where we worked out and we padded up and we played.
Okay.
And so I caught it at the right time and they put me in pads.
Yes.
And that's how I established myself there. And then they were just like, whoa, we had to do something. And so right off the bat, Coach Lineweaver said, oh man, we got a player here. What kind of guy, what kind of people is this? And then that's the story. So,
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Maloilele.
And I'm Kim, and we are the Castati sisters.
Today, we're joined here with Alpha Phi Asyale, and we have a very special guest here that we would like to talk
Yes.
about today. If you are from Trinity,
Mhm.
you might know exactly who we're talking about here. We're joined with Fotu Katoa. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for allowing us to
Yes.
listen to your story, sharing your journey with us today. I'm going to go ahead and pass you the mic and let you introduce yourself.
okay. My name is Fotu Katoa. And that's who I am. There's nothing special.
Yeah.
Enough said. Fotu Katoa. Yes. Old Euless original.
Exactly.
Yes. So I know that you are one of the pioneers that actually came back then and that started the journey of Polynesians being here in Euless, Texas. And Fotu, if you could just share just a little bit more about yourself, your upbringing before coming to the States. Just tell us a little bit about your background, please.
Okay. So I was born in Tonga. And when I was 5 years old, we moved to Salt Lake City. And my family was raised there until about 1981. And then we moved here in 1982, January of 1982.
Oh, wow.
And so I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. And we moved here in January of 1982. And then when we got here, all I know is there's a few families that were here before us, but it was very few.
Yes.
Very few families. And, we can name some of, who was that? Benistani, and who was the other one?
Oh, yes.
Ken, and then,
Your dad.
yeah, and then Siope was here.
Yeah, Sophia.
Siope Nayata, and then, and who was the other one?
Francione.
Yes,
One of the,
and then we had Siupeli.
yeah.
Siupeli and his wife, and it's so there was a few families here before us, but it wasn't organized. Or they were all together.
Yes.
And so,
Talai was
Talai
here,
was here. Yeah, Talai was here. So it was. So that's what happened. So it was in 1982, and we moved here, and my family came, and we, we are a large family,
Yes.
and we came here, and we settled in Euless, and we just started like any other Polynesian family, Tongan family. It's like, hey, get to work.
Yeah.
Right.
My dad said, hey, boys, go find a school because you need to go to school.
Yeah.
Go find a place to go play football. And we lived across the Highway 10. And I walked over to Trinity High School.
Oh.
And when I walked over to Trinity High School, I met, who did I tell you? Sione, what's his last? Haisila.
Yeah.
Sione, and then my man, Aleki. Stani.
Yeah.
So my guy, that was my guy in school. So I met them, and it so happened that I was there looking for a place to play football.
Yes.
Those two, Sione was in band. Sione was in the band. And Aleki was just Aleki. That's my guy.
Yeah.
And so we were standing there, and I was looking at the football trophies on the wall, and they're cased there. And then when I was there, all of a sudden, Steve Lineweaver, Coach Lineweaver, came up, and he said, "Can I help you, son?"
Yeah.
And I turned around, and I said, "Yes, sir. I'm looking for a place to play football." And then he just had this big grin on his face. He's like, "Follow me, son."
Yep.
Here we go. That's what happened. So he took me from there. We went into Coach John Rydell, the head football coach. We were in the office, and it was so funny because John Rydell, he's the man. He was the coach, and he was sitting in his office, and I got introduced, and I was introducing myself, and then it was a good conversation. And then when it was ending, he was just looking, and I can tell he was puzzled, you know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he said, "May I ask you what nationality are you?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh yeah, I'm from Tonga." And he just had this look on his face. He's like,
Yeah.
he looked up like he had his hand.
Yeah.
I said, "Let me help you
Yeah.
out.
Like what?
Have you heard of Hawaii?"
Yeah.
And
Of
then
course.
he said, yeah. I
Yeah.
said, 4 hours flight south
Yes.
of Hawaii, a dot in the island. That's
Yeah.
where Tonga is. And from there, that's how it started. So yeah, we went right in there. During that time, football here at Trinity, they used to do spring ball. So high school, they did spring ball where we worked out and we padded up and we played.
Okay.
And so I caught it at the right time and they put me in pads.
Yes.
And that's how I established myself there. And then they were just like, whoa, who are these?
Yeah.
What is this guy? You know? And it was like that. You know,
Yeah.
it was just, I don't know what was wrong, but
Yeah.
we had to do something. And so right off the bat, Coach Lineweaver said, "Oh man, we got a player here. What kind of guy, what kind of
Yeah.
people is this?" And then that's the story. So
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure just coming from the islands, especially you grew most of your life until your teenage years, you were in the islands, and then you came your junior year here straight to Euless, Texas. And then you're walking around from Highway 10 to Trinity, and then you're standing there and Coach Lineweaver's looking at you like, "Follow me, son.
Yeah.
I got a plan for you."
Yeah.
Just to see you
Yeah.
to where you are today, being in the Hall of Fame, and then just how amazing that is. I'm sure along the way from coming from the islands to here to Texas that there were some hardships just cultural wise, with Tonga and then here in America. So if you could just share just a little bit about that, and then you getting into football, was there any hardships that came along the way, and how did you overcome those hardships?
So just a little correction. So we grew up in Salt Lake City.
Oh,
We
yes.
moved from Tonga when I was 5 to Salt Lake City, and I was there until my sophomore year.
Okay.
So we transitioned into the community. We transitioned into the Western society. So we did all that kind of stuff. And so, but moving here, we were the first.
Yeah.
We were, meaning first, us,
As in, our Polynesians, yes.
And they really didn't know who we were.
Yeah.
They didn't have. They did not know. And then it was one of those things where it was a,
Can you obviously already touched on that you felt accepted. Do you think that had something to do with the fact that Texas loves football and that, this is a culture that we came here. We really didn't have that in California. I don't know about Salt Lake, but when I came here, I didn't really understand that about Texas, how much they love Friday night, high school,
It's a religion, yes.
high school football, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe helped them accept you a lot quicker and the Tongans a lot quicker, or was that maybe it was just their culture there?
No, I agree with you, Alpha. I believe that it helped speed up the acceptance.
I feel like that.
Yeah, because if like one of the reporters asked me, said, "Fotu, what would have happened if you would have came and you were no good?" You know what I know? He said that. He said if you didn't perform,
Right.
I'm like, that would have been terrible. But yes, I agree with you, Alpha, because this is football country.
Yes.
Okay, and this is religious. Football is religion here. I know that.
Yeah.
Lived it, understand it, and this is what happens. And yes, in lieu of your question, absolutely, I believe that because we performed well on the almost like an obligation or something that we had to do to just prove ourselves, or not to prove ourselves, but just to establish ourselves in this community. I mean, this is Trinity High School. And they were known, they were big, and they were powerhouse, and et cetera, et cetera. And so the transition was very interesting. Yeah? The transition, it was good. And the nice thing about it, H.E.B school district, the coaches, Trinity High School, wrapped their arms around us.
Yeah.
Nice people. They took us out, but they took us in and allowed us to be part of this. And I was doing an interview somewhere else, and they were asking and said, "What if Coach Lineweaver then come by and said, 'May I help you, son?'" I said, "Oh, easy. I'd walk to the next high school, wherever that next high school was, And so, but it was, the transition was more of acceptance. It was when I was talking to some people, I said, when Coach Lineweaver said, "May I help you?" And I said, "Yes, sir. This is how it works. And I want to find a place to play football." And he says, "Follow me, son." And it was, and I transitioned and I warp speed that to today. And I said, what has happened then to now? I hope, because organizations like OPA and what they're doing all the way, because I listen, I hear, and helping these kids and helping our community grow and insert into what it is today was that same feeling when they said, "Can I help you, son?"
Exactly.
And H.E.B has taken us in.
Yeah.
So
It's very interesting that you say that, because we did an interview, the girls did a little piece with me the other day, and we talked about that. We talked about the Palangi people in the area and how they've been wonderful, the Euless people.
yes, and they took us in quicker, and they put us into something that they're so passionate about, which is high school football. They inserted us right in and said, "We got some dudes here. Who are these Afro guys? Who are these people with afros?" And so it's one of those things where let's back up a little bit, okay? Because what happened was, remember, Alpha, you guys celebrated graduation, and my dad made me work because I didn't graduate on time, because I had to graduate in the summer. So my dad made me work the day that everybody was going to graduation, and he threw a party at my house for the Tongan people that graduated to make a point that I was not doing what I was supposed to do, because I failed a class and I had to have that class to graduate. So I didn't graduate till July instead of June, whenever we got out, right? But so that happened. So it was a process. So we went from here, and this is why it's so important for these kids to pay attention, because they have so much talent and they have so much athletic ability and just talent, not only athletics, but everything, right? And they get these opportunities, and what they do with it is like, I saw this later and understood it later. And as you know, I have 7 kids and I pushed them in several directions. But it's one of those things where you have to be able to get it into that, these opportunities through sports, because that's what literally is the carrot for these kids, is sports. And if they can take advantage of it and be able to use it to pay for their college, they're already ahead of the game. Because most of the Polynesian kids are going to get scholarships. Most of them, if they're good academically, and then make sure. So with that, I just think it's really critical that these kids have seriously mentors like what you guys are doing, and to have people supporting them. I had a team around me. I had Coach Lineweaver. I had all the coaches just in awe with what's going on, and they brought in college coaches to meet me from all the big schools. But you know what? My grades weren't good. So I had to go the junior college route, and then from there I had to graduate from there. Then I got into BYU, and then all of a sudden life made sense, and like, whoa, I got to kick it in gear and graduate from it, and just went on in my career path. But that's so important for these young kids, just to understand the difference of getting a degree and not getting a degree is day and night. I mean, that is so important in every way, income level, as well as opportunities that come your way. I wouldn't have those opportunities to work for the governor if I didn't graduate from college. I wouldn't have those opportunities to do the things that I did in my career path if I didn't have that. There's no way it wouldn't happen. So it's so important that these kids find good pathways to get themselves educated, get them now through those educational pathways to make sure that they get that to provide opportunities for their life. So
Wonderful. So Trinity High School sent me a list of the first 5 Tongan students to graduate out of Trinity High School. So
was my name in it?
So what? Yeah.
Oh,
so,
good.
So,
all right. I was going to say, make sure my name was on. Come on, Opa.
Of course.
So
Sione High Sila.
Sione
High Sila was so Sam and I were 86.
You guys
There was
were
just
86.
2 of us. And then so 85 it was Silia Taufatofua.
Yes.
And then
Who was 84?
so
Me and who?
it was you And then Sione Haisila.
Yeah, so that's who he had the party in my house for.
You-
Yeah, that's who he had the pipe out there.
Yeah.
Was there, and they celebrated
Yeah.
while he made me go fix the food. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And then I know, so Boriana is one.
Oh yes, well, yeah.
So Boriana graduated, I think, from North Richland Hills. And
Yes.
so she might have been
84?
right in the mix. Yeah.
You know what?
You
Because
too.
I remember because she was
She
there.
might have been
She
the
was
one
at the
with the
house.
birthday. Yeah,
Yep.
with the
Yeah,
graduation.
yeah, that was the group.
And tell everybody about your journey. I remember coming here. Your dad,
Mhm.
Over there at police now, and I know Sam was the first Tongan police officer there. Your dad was the first jailer,
Mhm.
Tongan jailer
Right.
there, and then. But I remember when I first got here, everybody here worked, and I remember these
Yes.
brothers, like 15 of them.
You're right.
And they would,
Yeah.
they did. The city reached out. I think your dad
Mhm.
maintained a good relationship with them. Talk
Absolutely.
about the city of Euless and and all of our people here in this that works for the city, and how that relationship evolved with your dad and with your family and the Tongan community at that
Yeah.
time.
Well, my dad was always a thing. My dad was always somebody that he just worked. We worked from when we were kids.
I
So he
remember
just
that.
taught us how to work and do hard things, and that's what we did, and that was just expected, and that's what was ingrained into us. And so when we moved here, my dad, and it's really cool because I feel honored because I was his interpreter. So everywhere we go and do work at the city or the state, because he went and he got some big contracts with the state. We picked up all the litter.
Yeah.
And on the freeway, so we had some contracts on the freeway. We had some federal contracts, we had some state contracts, and then we went to the city and did some city contracts. And so, what made it fun because I was always his interpreter,
Yeah.
and we'd go and I'd listen and I'd hear. But just as a funny thing, it's like my dad would talk in Tongan to me, and he'd talk and negotiate with the folks. And the people would say, "Can you tell your dad we say no, it's not going to happen?" And I turned to my dad and I said, one of those, right? And I'm like, he said no. My dad said no. One of those things. So he was always a thing, and he just helped people. He was just a, and when we first moved here, CSE CSE Mamong, where we went to, the church was like far away. It was like 45 minutes away. And so, he was the counselor there. And then it started to evolve when then all of a sudden all these Tongans came. And then the church made him a third counselor. They approved him to be a third counselor. It's only two counselors.
And this is the LDS church.
Yeah. And because the bishop told me, the stake president told me, because he was a friend of mine later on. And so we became acquainted. And then he said they made him a third counselor because there's so many Tongans moving in. And then from there, it led to him opening the
remember
first
that, yeah.
Tongan branch here. He was the branch president. And then he moved from there to being the first bishop here. And then evolved that whole and built. So, he was just a pioneer in his time.
Yeah.
And he was just
For
one
sure.
of, and so he instilled that in us
Yes.
to always feign but most important, help people. And that's his life. And I'm serious. He did some good things, and we would be the recipients of watching that happen, and the recipients of not having things because he'd give it away to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's just the way he is.
Yes.
And that's why we love the man so much, and we revere him because he would. You guys don't need to give this card to so and so. That's my high school car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but he was that man, and he was the one that just instilled that in us, and that hanga thing. And he was always tauhiva.
Yeah.
He would always. It didn't, even though we were LDS, we were every religion because we went to every and just.
Yeah.
part of that. So just Taliba. Right?
Yes, I remember that. I remember too arriving here in '84, and you guys would always have hula hulas. There was back in
Yes.
the day, it was like
Yes.
a dance. I don't want to get too far because I see
Oh,
there's
are they here? Oh, good,
Sam and
good.
them are here too, so that way we can bring him in at some point.
Yes.
But any more questions about Fotu and maybe his journey, and to talk a little bit about anything else that you would like to cover?
No, the thing that I want to say is this. You guys are doing a great job in the sense of, like, for example, like Fred keeps me up to mentor these kids and to help these kids and provide for them these opportunities. Oh, just so you know, I talked to, I shouldn't say it in the air, but I talked to,
Breaking news.
Yeah, no, breaking news.
On the
So I flew in Thursday and I had an appointment with Dr. Harrington, and I was conversing with him and just going through just everything. We had a great meeting.
And Dr. Harrington, for those who don't know.
Yes, is the superintendent of H.E.B. ISD here in the multiplex here. So he is the head honcho. But we were going over things and we were talking, and we got to one point we were talking about what the Pacific Islanders, their contributions here, right? And we were talking about that, and he said, according to our stats, the Pacific Islanders are only about 1.5% to 2% of our population as far as school students overall. Overall, very small.
Right.
But their impact it feels like it's about 80%.
Oh,
The impact that these students, Polynesian students, have, because they're part of everything. They're not only sports; they're part of everything, and just their ability to be friendly and to help, and just and so it was a really good meeting. But and he mentioned that he said OFA here has an organization that takes these kids to school and to colleges and introduce them to colleges and help them. And he said, and she meets with me and asked me to get the kids out of school and provide the opportunity for them. And so after we talked, he said, we're going to make sure that happens. Don't quote me on that. Make sure that's not. But he said, we're going to make sure that we keep that going and keep making sure that. I said, and so I just talked about our relationship, our background, and just everything you're doing. So it was really good. And it's, and before we end here, it's like every opportunity I get to do something like that, I always try to bring up everybody. So I talked about you, I talked about Mia being the principal.
Yeah.
Then I talked about, who's the other person? I talked about Fred too. So what it is, what was really nice was Dr. Harrington said that principal, what's the principal at Trinity right now? Pugh. So he said, Principal Pugh said, Mia will be a principal someday. She's that good. And I said, you got it. So what I did is I started telling him all about other Pacific Islanders in other states, especially in Utah where we're at. I told him, I said, we have Tongan doctors, we have lawyers, we have entrepreneurs, we have legislatures, we have 2 just put in, and we have 2 judges that are Tongan Samoan that are judges, and we have business owners, tech companies that are owned by Polynesians in Tonga. I said, Dr. Harrington, that's where we're headed with this community. Right. You mentor, you help us, and you continue mentoring, doing what you're doing, and allowing these organizations to help us, help you, help us. We're headed that direction. And he was so impressed. That's got us talking about it. So,
Thank
FYI.
you.
So.
Thank you very much. We all appreciate that.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for tuning in to our Anesthetic Podcast. Bye!
But just speaking for myself, these are the ways that you guys continue to show up. And I can't thank you guys enough, all 3 of you, for continuing to, you guys started something and you saw it through. You didn't start here and leave, go back to, forget about Texas. You guys started something and you saw it through, and the benefits will outlive all of us. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. I'm so excited that Alpha wanted to capture this, because this is something that I will get to share with my kids and share with my family. So I want to say thank you to all of you guys. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to our Anesthetic Podcast. Bye!